What was your major when you went there? Good start.
A bunch of rough dudes who like literally like would eat lunch at the strip club. Yeah, because it was free, so they would like go eat free lunch at the strip club before work. Like
Classic chef moment. He's a cook, but he's also the owner, and I'm like, Mom, cash.
When I dropped out of college and I was like, I want to be a chef, they were like, no.
So that hospitality is innate to you.
I think
It's
so.
no surprise you came with a bag of food. What's good, crew? Daniel here, and this is Dine Grind, the show that plates up kitchen grit with entrepreneurial hustle. Quick shout out before we fire up the convo. Years ago, I wiped out on a slick kitchen floor and paid for it in medical bills and pain. So I teamed up with a top orthopedic surgeon and a fellow restaurateur to build Snibs, non-slip all-day shoes made for folks who grind on their feet, and proud sponsor of this podcast. Today, we're talking island flavors, pop-up hustle with Chef Rashida Holmes, 3 times James Beard nominee, I'm sure you're gonna get that win, and the mastermind of Bridgetown Roti, year 2 with a brick and mortar on deck, a cheesy collab with Tillamook, and a Goatober lineup that's already got my stomach rumbling. Aprons on, service starts now. First off, Chef Rashida. I don't know what you're doing over there in that kitchen, but I could not be happier eating your food.
Thank you.
Yesterday, I was prepping for our conversation. I said, there's 0 chance I'm going to walk into this room. And I've had your food casually before, but I was like, I haven't, I need to taste the flavors, right?
Yeah.
And so I ordered every side. I ordered 2 of the rotis. And you were so nice to bring literally somehow all the things I didn't try. And what did you say on your way in?
It's a food podcast, so why would you not bring food for you to eat?
Well, I don't know if you're listening out there, but if you're planning on being on Dine Grind, Chef just lit the storm. Me and Noah, right here behind camera, we're always hungry. And so thank you for bringing that food. Thank you for bringing those flavors. Let's get into it, huh?
Let's.
All right, let's go back to when you were a little kid.
Oh, gosh.
Where are we? What coast are we on?
We're on the East Coast. We're in New York. We're in Brooklyn, in fact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was born in Bed-Stuy. My mom was from Barbados, but moved to the States like around like 13 or so. And I grew up in Manhattan. And my dad was born in Brooklyn, but grew up in Mount Vernon area.
Yeah, okay. Out this way?
Yeah, no, Mount Vernon, New York.
Mount Vernon, New York.
Yeah,
I know we got a Mount Vernon here.
I do, yes.
Okay.
Mount Vernon, New York. But they're New Yorkers like true and true. Like,
okay.
They haven't lived there in like 30 years, but they would still call themselves New Yorkers.
I don't think you could ever leave, if you're born and bred as a New Yorker.
Yes, for sure. So I was born in Brooklyn. We lived in a house that my dad's grandparents bought in like the 20s, like a brownstone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so...
Did they hold on to it? Are you rich forever now?
I think that my dad is still mad at my mom for forcing him to sell that brownstone in like 1990 because we moved to Jersey, Montclair, New Jersey after that.
Yeah, that's a nice neighborhood, dude.
Yeah, I mean, New York was rough in the late 80s, early 90s because I'm older than I look. And my mom was like 3 of the houses in our neighborhood like turned into crack dens, and my mom was like, we out.
That's it. That's where you draw the line.
Yeah, she was like, we're out of this
Little
place.
did you know that there would be hipsters and cool things going on there.
I mean, seriously, I swear every 10 years or so, my dad is like, Joy, do you know how much that brownstone would have been worth and we held on to it? Can you believe?
It was my grandfather's.
And they had like renovated it in like the 70s and stuff. But anyways, sore subject for the Holmes family. But we had the first time I probably had like Caribbean food really was like we had a Trinidadian nanny named Beulah who I loved, and she taught my dad how to like make Trinidadian food. Oh. So like between my mom and her teaching my dad was like really like that's like the Rashida Caribbean origin story right there. But we moved to Jersey when I was like 3, and then we moved to Dallas, Texas when I was 7.
Move fish out of water out there or what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My mom got promoted. My dad likes to say he had a 7-year prison sentence in Texas. He got out in good behavior.
I think your dad's got a lot of your charm, I'm sure.
Yes. So we spent 7 years in Dallas, Texas, from like 1st to 7th grade. And then we moved to Baltimore after that. So I went to high school in Baltimore. Okay. So people ask me where I'm from. I'm always like, I don't know, man. I went to high school in Baltimore, so you can say Baltimore if you like.
Okay, got it.
But really,
that's where you got your cell phone number, because I saw the area code. So that's when I think you become officially a human.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So yeah, I always say Baltimore, but really, it's a hodgepodge. It's a hodgepodge.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we know about Baltimore, and I saw this when we were talking about it, is you got blue crab season out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if there's anything less awesome than blue crabs, I don't know what it is.
I mean, honestly
it's like,
don't know either.
I just love it. It's like succulent, it's sweet, you get the seasoning right, it's just a game changer.
It is.
So is this what cracked you open?
I mean, like, you mean like in terms of being a chef?
In terms of finding that love for food, or it's always been with you?
Oh, it's always been with me. I mean, both my parents were really good cooks.
Both.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah. Like I said, we moved to Dallas because my mom got promoted, right? So my dad cooked. Like he cooked us hot breakfast every morning before school. He made most of our dinners because my mom was like a high-powered saleswoman at the time. So she was like traveling all over the Southwest, like being a sales manager. So he was like making dinner all the time. And then the holidays, my mom would like shine. She'd like pull out curry chicken and the codfish cakes and like really like pull out all the Caribbean stops, and they threw parties all the time. My parents are partiers, like, so no matter where we lived, our house was full of people and they were always hosting.
I love that.
And
it's around food.
Always around food.
I've noticed that there's different types of people out there. Sometimes you go to those parties and there's like one thing out and alcohol and you're like, what is this? I need the food. Like the alcohol is great, but the food is where I'm at.
Oh yeah, no, it was always a spread. Like we would have Kwanzaa parties with like 50, 100 people in our house all the time. And my mom would make all the food. Like I remember one time she like made a turducken just to like try to do it. Like they just were cooking. They were just hosting all the time. They just were always hosting people in our house. It was just like what they did.
So the hospitality is innate to you.
I think so.
It's no surprise you came with a bag of food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't even think they realized that they instilled that in me as a kid, because they definitely did not want me to be a chef when I grew up, for sure.
They did?
Oh, God, no.
They told you?
I mean, when I decided I wanted to do it, they were like, no. So
they did.
Later. When I dropped out of college and I was like, I want to be a chef, they were like, no.
That's every parent's dream to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mom and Dad, I failed my sophomore year. Can I be a chef?
But they're so proud of you now. It's probably out of balance. But obviously now it's written, Well, it wasn't at one point.
It wasn't at one point, and many points after that, for sure. It took my mom like a solid 7 years of me cooking before she was like, okay.
Did she give you credit for how good your food was in the process, or did she just no,
not at all, not at all.
High-powered woman's gonna be tough on you.
She was, they were both college educated, in middle class Black people. They saw this as a step backwards. Every time I came home and I had like burns on my arms, my mom was like, "Are you seriously? This is what you want to be doing?" So. It was tough. It was tough road. It was tough road.
My mom would be like, well, he's a cook, but he's also the owner. And I'm like, Mom, you don't need to try to like make me sound better. I'm good at what I do. I'm happy.
My mom is like, she's a chef. And I'm like, I'm not the chef. I'm just
on
the
the
line cook.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
Yeah. But it took a while, but they came around. They came around.
So you've always had this passion, you always had this love. What was the moment where you took the passion, the love, and you were like, hey, I want to do this? Like, well, you were in college at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I didn't always have the passion and the love, like, at all. I think I always loved, like, I watched a lot of Food Network growing up. Like, I love, like, Iron Chef and, like, Molto Mario and, East Meets West. Remember East Meets West?
I don't remember East Meets West.
Oh man, that was like one of my favorite shows back in the day. And I watched a lot of that stuff, but I never thought I was gonna be a cook. I was like, oh, I'll go to college and like figure it out. Like the goal was always to go to college, right? And then I got there.
What was your major when you went there? Nothing. Good start.
Like that was the problem. Like the goal was to get there, and then I got there. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I had no direction whatsoever. And so I kind of bummed around my freshman year trying to figure it out. I chose, I think, history because I liked history. And my older brother did history. And I was like, oh. And it was easy. And I switched to geology after that because I do still love geology. I love the history of the planet and stuff like that. So, but I really had no direction whatsoever. And I fell into kind of a deep depression because I just didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no direction. I just had no idea. And I'd spent so much of my like high school career like trying to get to this end point. And then I was at the end point. So then I was like, oh,
what's next?
I'm 18 and I'm at the end. But this isn't the end. It's supposed to be the beginning.
First off, kudos to you to realize that, because I think a lot of people are just going to be like, well, I'm here. I got to do it. I already said I'm going to do it. You know, I know it's probably hard, but to reassess at that moment, that shows strength and courage.
I mean, I guess. I mean, my strength and courage was like not going to class and failing all my classes.
The symptoms are going to be whatever the symptoms are, okay? But the root cause is noble.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think I can see the root cause now. At the time, it was smoke a lot of weed and not go to class. So
the weed helps.
Which was not the best thing, and kind of like avoid the issue until like my grades came back and I was like, oh, I flunked everything. And then going back home that summer with my tail between my legs and being like, and my mom was like, well, what are you gonna do now? And I kind of threw culinary school like out. I was like, oh, I think I'll go to culinary school. And they were like, well, you're gonna come home and do that so we can watch you, because we don't trust you anymore. Fair,
yeah, I would say, yeah.
So I moved back home. I went to Baltimore International College and I lived at home and was like, well, I guess I'll try this. And I went and I loved it. Like, I was like, oh, this is like work. Like, this is tangible. I get results like immediately. And I was like, oh, and then we can eat, which I loved eating. So I was like, oh, okay, I like this. Like, I'm enjoying this. I can do this for a while. So, I fell in love with it right away. And then I had a professor, Ben Simmons, who was like, you should go get a job. He like picked me out of the crowd. He was like, you should go get a job.
You specifically, okay.
Yeah, like you go get a job, go to culinary school in the morning, go work a line cook job at night, so that when you leave culinary school, you have 2 years of work experience.
Okay.
And I was like, well, okay.
All right, Ben. I like Ben.
Yeah. And he was like, and then when you leave, then you'll have 2 years of work experience and then you'll be way ahead. You'll be way ahead. And
True.
I was like, okay. So I did that. I went and got a job at like this little place called Ida Bistro, which was a little neighborhood Italian spot, like 2 minutes from my parents' house. So it was easy commute for me. And
what was the station that they put you on?
They put me on Garmo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like crazy because it was like an oyster shucking station because we were in Maryland, right? So I had to shuck oysters. I had to make salads. I had to fry fresh calamari that we got every day. So it was like a fryer, desserts, oysters.
Yeah, make sure your hands are in a combustion state. You're like covered in
like
batter and oyster. Yeah.
Batter, oyster is like washing them constantly.
Did you fry oysters? Did you at least get to cross the line on one?
No, I know. The oysters were all like, it was all like 6 nuggets, half a dozen, 18, 36.
It sounds so good though.
It was so fun. And then it was like, these El Salvadorian guys who'd like worked there for 6-7 years who would just like haze me constantly and like,
young kid in culinary school, went to culinary school.
They never went to culinary school. And they would
give you a hard time.
They gave me a hard time all the time. We used to have like 40s in the walk-in and like all this, crazy kind of like young stuff. But I loved the vibe and like we had a really good chef who went to the same culinary school and just was like, understood, like saw the passion in me and just like took me under the wing and let me really like, I worked that over those 2 years, I worked my way through that whole kitchen, like worked every station.
There's something about the moment you get into the line and the line buzzes, and the line just starts moving and you move with it. Just like, I think top 3 feelings in the world, maybe, and it takes you a while to come down from that. No matter how many times you do it, it takes you a while to come down from it. If you have a huge, tickets up to here, I just love that feeling.
It was the best. And that place was buzzing every night. It was like 50 seats. We
Perfect
did like
amount.
150 covers like
I did
every
3 turns?
yeah, 3 turns a night.
Wow.
Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would go to culinary school at 7 a.m., 7 a.m. to 2, and then I'd hustle down to work from like 3 to 10. And then I did that like 5 nights, like Monday through Friday. And then Friday night, I'd change in my car, drive down to University of Maryland, party with high school friends from like Friday to Sunday, and then do it all over again.
That's a full schedule. So you started working hard early, yeah?
So crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I don't know who that lady was. Could never do that anymore. But I was, I was 20,
The
21.
youth. Yeah, that's what we're that's what's
what you
meant
do.
for.
That's
yeah.
what you do.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You see these young kids come on the line after they've been partying at like 4 a.m. and then you see them on the line and like one eye's bloodshot and they're still, I'm like, I don't know how you could do that. I was like, I mean,
Kids today could never. They could never.
okay. So you're mastering both a student and a professional. Yeah. You get there, you graduate. Did you stay at that job after at Ida's or did you move on?
I stayed there for a couple months, like 6 months, and then I moved to Philadelphia. I went to work at this restaurant, R2L, which was like at the top of the tallest building in downtown Philly, for the chef Daniel Stern. I only was there for like a month, and then they moved me to their sister restaurant, which was called Mid-Atlantic, which is like Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine. It was really crazy. It was crazy.
Was there an audience for Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine?
I don't really know. It was like they really couldn't keep that place staffed.
Pennsylvania Dutch. Honestly, I'm really curious. I've been to a lot of types of restaurants. I'm not sure I've ever been to that.
It was honestly the strangest. I mean, we were making like hot dogs from scratch and like 4 different types of like scrapple and like all this like charcuterie from scratch. And like, it was a completely open kitchen in like the bottom of a corporate building. And the CDC that hired me got fired. So I was like promoted to a sous chef really fast, which I was not ready for at the time. But it was like my first sous chef job. And
when you say not ready, was it the readiness of the responsibility of coaching the line, or was it the readiness of making the dishes? Kind of what was
I wasn't ready to manage people.
Yeah, that's the biggest change.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to manage people like at all. Like I didn't.
I feel that you're a very empathetic manager. But maybe at the time it was just, you're young.
Well, I mean,
also
Philly's like a rough town, and it was like a bunch of dudes, and they like didn't want to listen to me, and like,
okay.
I'm
used to LA. We're soft here.
Yeah, much softer. There was like a bunch of rough dudes who like literally like would eat lunch at the strip club like before they
got to work. Buffet where you
because it was free, so they would like go eat free lunch at the strip club before work. Like that was the type
classic chef moment. You love food? Nah, I'm cool with the free stuff with the movies. We'll get it going.
Literally, because it was free. And I was like living with these, I was living in this apartment, and my parents came to visit, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." But they let me alone, and they let me figure it out. And
you went there specifically to work for that restaurant group? Or for that first restaurant?
I went there because I was ready to move out of my parents' house, and I had some friends in Philly, and I was like, I wanted to be in a different city and just explore. And I'd read about Daniel Stern and what he was doing at R2L, and I was kind of sad that they had I wanted to work at R2L, and then they moved me to the other place. But it was really huge learning curve for me to like get that management position at early on, and it was tough. It was really difficult, but I learned a lot. It almost burned me out. I actually like went back to college for like a semester because I was like, I don't want to cook anymore.
Well, in between?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like I moved back because I went to University of Pittsburgh, and I actually moved back to Pittsburgh to go to college for a semester, and then worked at another restaurant while I was in college. I did that again.
You can't get away from it.
I know.
The industry loves you too much.
I know. Well, my mom convinced me to go back to college.
I see. Yeah.
So
she's always, that's great that you're doing this, but how about college?
Exactly. So
my mom did the same thing to me.
She was chirping in my ear, so I tried it, and I did a semester, and I did well, but the industry just kept pulling me back. I just loved it too much. I loved it too much. And in Pittsburgh, I worked at a restaurant called Soba, which was like Pan Asian cuisine. And it was the first time I worked for a female chef, this woman, Danielle Kane. And she changed my entire outlook on the industry because I was like, I finally could see myself. I saw myself in the career that I could be. Like, I was like, oh,
That's cool.
I have a role model that's like, not quite looks like me, but like is a woman who's commanding this kitchen, who's friendly, who's empathetic, who is running it in a way that's like not just insanity. I could do that. Like, I could be that person. And so
she was an expander for you. She helped you kind of see it. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, she helped me see that I could.
Did you ever tell her that?
Job. I did. Yeah,
Okay.
many times.
She appreciates
and
it.
Since then, a lot. Yeah.
You guys are still close?
We're not close, but like we've kept up with each other, and she's an amazing chef and has stayed with that group. A Big Burrito group is like a huge restaurant group in Pennsylvania, and I think they won a James Beard Award like a couple years back as like a restaurant group.
Awesome.
But because their whole thing was like they have this like fast food chain called Big Burrito, which is like very like Mexican American, and then that makes so much money that they have all these like fine dining restaurants.
Fun things to do on the side.
Yeah. So like they have like 4 or 5 fine dining restaurants in Pittsburgh that like we could basically do whatever we wanted, which was awesome.
That's very cool.
Because we didn't have to worry about money.
I also love, so I've worked in my kitchens mostly, but when I started, I was really harsh. I was like, everything was about making the perfect plate, which I don't know what I was thinking at the time. And then I came to the realization that we're all here to give love.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we're in the kitchen. That's the reason why we make food.
Yes.
As soon as I changed that energy, I started enjoying work so much more. I feel like the production of the work became so much better. And it was such a, to your point, like an expander that it made me re-fall in love with hospitality again, because it always felt like it was the diner against the chef in my old world.
Yeah.
And then it became one harmonious thing, except everyone against the runner, because the runner's always making the food cold, and I can never get the food out fast enough, hot food. But outside that, everybody's on the same team.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think we're feeding people.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're doing. Like chefs are feeding people.
Yeah.
It's nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the goal. So like, how can you nourish people if everything you're making them is coming from a stressful place?
I mean, impossible, right?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. They're not going to feel nourished if the plate comes from stress.
I agree.
And that's what Danielle taught me. It was like, you cannot feel nourished. They will not feel nourished if you're stressed. It only comes if you're having a good time. And that's like the thing that I always tried to impart on my cooks now all the time. It's like, if you're stressed, the food will taste stressed.
And I, from afar, just seeing it through social media, and I don't think you're an actor, so I'll give you that.
Appreciate that.
You could feel it. You see you and your team, and you're just like, everyone's happy. Like it feels focused but lighthearted.
Yes.
I don't know if that's kind of where we were going.
Yes, because focus is different.
Yeah.
Focus is not the same thing, and I think some people can't differentiate the two.
Totally.
You differentiate the two, and I think they're trying now, but I think some people, it's too ingrained, the stress and the focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't.
I mean, I guess, I don't know in Philly, so maybe it still works in Philly, but
I haven't been there in a long time, so I don't know.
But in LA, if you were like that,
Philly.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, South Philly. But in LA, if you're like that now, you'll just, everyone will walk out on you like 2 seconds later.
They sure
Dude,
will.
I don't care if I don't have a job. I'll go run Uber Eats and I'm out of here.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I know. I noticed
almost
that too.
To a fault.
Almost to a fault. I know. Staffing is its own banana.
Almost to a fault. Yeah. Almost to a fault.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the antithesis. We've learned where we go.
Yeah.
What got you to California?
Oh, women, weed, and weather.
Women, weed, and you were ready with the triple W.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kendra told me, and I was like, okay, cool.
That is, and I think also Lil Wayne has let us know as well.
Yeah, same did. Yeah. I mean, it snowed. I think it was 2012. I came out here to visit my cousin for Christmas because she'd been begging us.
The cousin that will not be named.
My cousin Mona. I will name her. My cousin Mona, who had been begging us to come out for Christmas for years.
Yeah.
And we just were like, all right, we'll come out for Christmas. And it was so nice.
That's so nice.
And I went back to Pittsburgh and it snowed for like 40 days in a row. And I was like, F this.
Yep.
I'm out.
Okay.
I'm out.
Wow, just like that.
Yeah. And I was like, I can cook anywhere.
Okay.
I wasn't beholden. I didn't care about being there.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you left Soba? Was that the last job before you left?
Yeah, that was the last job. I was there for like 2 years.
Okay.
And yeah, I was like, I don't need to stay here in Pittsburgh. And also like, I mean, Pittsburgh's a great town, but like not a ton of black people. Not particularly not a ton of like black gay people. So I was like,
not too much community.
Yeah, not too much community there. So I was like, I don't really need to be here at all. So I packed up my car and my best friend helped me drive out here, and
You drove.
I drove.
That's a fun drive.
It is a fun drive.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah, we took the southern route and we drove.
Ate all this good food on the way?
We did. We drove through Memphis, ate a bunch of barbecue.
Oh my God, do you have Uncle Lou's out in Memphis?
We did, and I mean...
So when we drove
I don't even remember
the places you went?
I mean, yeah, because we drove through Memphis, we drove through Arkansas, we went through Hot Springs, Arkansas, and then we had no money also, so like we slept in our car a bunch.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. We like slept in
That friend's a trooper.
Yeah, he was a trooper. We had one crazy experience where we couch surfed in New Mexico with this guy.
On couchsurfing.com?
On couchsurfing.com.
Yeah,
Remember that back in the day?
I do remember that.
With this guy who like named Murph, where he like, he was like, he met us at a gas station. He was like, okay, just follow me up, up into these mountains.
I don't like that.
So we follow him up in these mountains and we're like, we're going to get murdered, right? Like, this is where we get murdered. And we like follow him up and like he takes us onto this dirt road. And we're like, okay, we're getting murdered. We're so follow this guy. Yeah, we slept in our car for 2 nights. We were so tired. We just went into bed. And we follow him down this dirt road. There's like dogs barking and like all this stuff. And then we come into this clearing and it's like this beautiful trailer and like a barn with hammocks. And he like made us green chili enchiladas and like had like joints laid out for us and stuff.
Murph had good reviews on Couchsurfing.
Murph had great reviews
so that's the
on
only reason why you're like, shit, the reviews are good. I don't know.
Murph was like a former, what was he? He was like a former EMT helicopter pilot. So he had like his job, he was like a retired, so he told us all these crazy stories about rescuing rock climbers and stuff. Shout out to Murph, he's awesome. I don't know what happened to that guy, but we went from feeling like we were going to get murdered to having like the best sleep of our lives.
Well, there you go. That's a nice plateau from where you started. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, we had a great drive and arrived on like May 12th, 2013. Never looked back.
2013. So Craigslist, is that you're finding your next chef job or where are you going?
I think it was Culinary Agents.
Okay. Oh, wow. You used, oh, wow. Good for you. Really? Yeah, okay. I know Culinary Agents.
Yeah, Culinary Agents, 2013. Applied a bunch of places. I think I stage at Ink. I think I staged
at... Old Michael. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think I staged at Ink. I staged at Animal.
Oh, wow.
And then I staged at Tureen. And I knew one person from culinary school who worked at LA. And when I went to stage at Tureen, when I made the phone call, the chef was like, oh, I have a surprise for you. And I was like, you have a surprise for me? You don't even know me. And I get there, and then the one guy I know from culinary school who lives in LA works there.
No, that's awesome.
No, I'm sorry, not Tureen, at Raisin Stark Bar at the LACMA.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And he worked there. And I was like, what the hell? Of all the
Little
places.
home, yeah, there you go.
Of all the thousands of restaurants in LA, I couldn't believe that he worked there. And so, I started there with Chris Morningstar. And,
Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was it. I worked there for a year and a half. And then when Chris left to open Tureen, I went there and it was a CDC for another year and a half. So,
wow.
3.5 years I worked for Chris.
Okay. And then we have the death blow of COVID. Is that the next part of the story?
Oh, no.
No, we got more time in between.
Oh, yeah. This is like, we're only at like
2016.
2016, I worked at Rustic Canyon with Jeremy Fox.
I love Rustic Canyon.
And then I worked at the Freehand Hotel. I opened the Freehand Hotel downtown.
The Israeli restaurant? Or the second one? Oh, yeah, they started with the Israeli restaurant?
Yeah,
Dude,
with Alex Chang.
That was so
It was so good. It was so good.
I was like, you know what? But downtown ruins everything.
I know.
And it's like you have every gem in the world in downtown, and it's just like downtown doesn't know how to take care of it.
I know. That place was we were doing such good food there.
Such good food.
It was such a fun place to open.
I would eat there twice a week.
Yeah.
And I would go to Broken Shaker once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. Freehand was like the coolest hotel downtown.
If you ate lunch there, that was me.
Okay. I did. All right. You did a good job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've fed me now multiple times.
Yeah, I did breakfast and lunch there and pretty much like did Broken Shaker as well. And then worked at Botanica after that for a couple of years. And then,
Botanica is the vegan one in Silver Lake?
In Silver Lake. It's not vegan, but yeah.
A lot. Okay.
Vegan friendly.
Vegan friendly. Got it.
Sure. All these exec stew jobs for a while.
Okay, great. This is a great transition to where I want to go.
Yeah.
Tons of executive stew shop jobs.
Tons of exec stew jobs. Never the one.
Never the one.
Never the one.
All right. And then what happens?
I leave Botanica. So the chef left Botanica. They offer me this CDC job there. And I take it for about 2 months.
Okay.
As lovely as those owners are, and I'm still, very close with them. They're great. Love Emily and oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Heather and Emily. They're great. But the food didn't really call me like at all. And
that's a tough place to be because that's your craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I felt like it was time. Like it was time for me to apply for some executive chef jobs. I felt like I've been suing all over this town. It was time for me to explore. And so I applied for some executive chef jobs that summer. That was like 2019. And I didn't get any. And
I would have hired you. You'd be first on my list.
I appreciate that. But it was really disheartening.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Especially after all this time you put in.
Put in a lot of time. I thought my resume was pretty stellar.
Your resume is stellar. What was were you getting the interviews and not getting the job, or was it just not coming to fruition? Like,
I did a couple tastings with no fruitions. I put a bunch of resumes out there with no calls.
Damn.
It was it was pretty disheartening. It was pretty disheartening.
I could see that for sure. Did you quit Botanica, or are you still working at Botanica while you're doing this?
I had quit Botanica.
Oh, so you're okay.
So
you put it on the line.
I did. Because
okay.
I was pretty sure of myself.
Honestly, I would have been too.
I was like, I got it. Like I'm gonna get this job.
But you know what? The world didn't want you to take an EC job. Because you wouldn't be doing what you're doing today.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. But I felt as if, and I'm at the time I was like, that Rashida at the top of the resume, I just felt like the unconscious biases of people were really coming through.
For being black and gay.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't know I was gay, but the blackness, for sure. And
I'm sorry, that sucks.
Well, it's America, and
it was like LA. You think LA is like,
You would think, but LA is a funny little town that is a bastion of progression with a lot of racism underneath. And once we can come to terms with that, I think we can be a better city.
Okay.
But we have to come to terms with that.
Okay, I will. I'm not going to brush it off and say I didn't think so.
It's true. It is true. It is true.
I just, sorry, but like every time I think about this and like people are like, oh, like, are you picking out a race or anything? I'm like, I am a business owner. The person who is best for the job, I don't give a if they're 20 feet tall, if they're 4 inches, black, white, Asian, whatever. I just need the best person for the job.
And for the most part, I think people do conduct themselves that way.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think.
But it wasn't happening for you and you had the resume. So it's clear. It's clear. Let's be real.
Let's be real. I had the resume. It's happening for my peers very easily, and it just wasn't happening for you.
Okay.
So I can only go back. My dad always says, if it doesn't make sense, it's probably racism.
Oh my God. What a crazy thought as you grow up, if you're like trying to understand what's happening and it's not clear.
And 9 times out of 10,
It is.
it is.
Fuck that.
It's just America, and yeah. So I took a little. My friend Ashley was opening up the Firehouse Hotel.
Yeah.
She needed a little help, so I helped her.
That was a really cool culinary experience, the Firehouse Hotel.
Yeah, and that was she needed some help with that one, so I helped her open that, and that summer, my friend Janet was like, well, why don't you just like write down everything you love to eat and cook and see where that takes you?
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
Okay.
So I did, and I
Cool.
filled up a whole bunch of notebooks with all those things, and I looked down at it and I was like, I can't eat a roti in LA. Maybe I should make those. And that was it. That was the idea. And then so, while I was helping at the Firehouse, I just started doing little friends and family pop-ups of like, hey guys, is this good? Like, people were like, yes, yes, yes. I kept getting lots of yeses, like, this is working, you should do this is working. And then the Firehouse closed in like February of, what was it, 2020?
2020, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I wasn't really committed to that anyway. I was kind of doing this little Bridgetown thing. I'm gonna go do that full time. And then March of 2020 happened.
I mean, it's kind of perfect timing, even though you wouldn't think so.
Yeah. So, a little annoying though, because I couldn't collect unemployment, but
You couldn't collect it because the fact that they closed and
yeah. So that was a bit of a. I collected like a little bit, but not as much as a lot of other people got, which sucked.
Yeah, that does suck.
But it did kind of force me to be like, okay, well, I gotta make some money. And I couldn't really do the rotis out of my house, so then I started doing the patties out of my house, and that was what kicked off the whole kit and boodle.
I mean, I don't know if like destiny is the right word, because it sounds like it's in the stars, but it's like it was like your destiny. I think maybe, and I'm not trying to speak on like your story, but like retrospectively, if you look back, if you got that EC job, is there any chance you would be where you're at today?
Oh, probably not.
No, and you would be still you might be doing what you love, but you're most likely going to be doing some version of what someone else loves. And so now you get to build that authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think it shows. I mean, it's like really, really special. And so was there a moment where the pop-up felt real? Like, was it when you were starting to sell out? What was there a place that you kind of were like, oh man, I actually think this has like enough legs?
I mean, there were lots of those moments, right? Like the first couple weeks when I sold out of the patties like every weekend, and I kept making more, and I kept selling out, and
What was the first quantity?
I think the first week I made like 50.
Okay,
right.
And that sold out.
I sold out. I was like, okay, I only made 50.
I mean, selling out 50 of anything through social media is wild.
Yeah. Then that was like just DMs, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll make 100, and then those sold out, and I was like, okay, I'll make.
And these people are coming to your house and picking it up.
Yeah, just coming to my house picking them up.
And you're just a happy person. Here's your patties.
And then there was one weekend where I asked my wife to manage the DMs, and she comes to me and she goes, so I sold 270 accidentally.
Accidentally, yeah, right. She was like, cash.
Well, she didn't know that she was supposed to cut it off.
Oh my God. And how many you got? What? You tell me you don't have one oven.
I have one oven. Right?
Oh,
so I
the whole time is oven.
So I like ring up Heather and Emily. I'm like, so can I need some help. I have to make.
We got production issues.
It's Wednesday. I have people coming on Friday, and I haven't have enough space. So then I was like in there for like
speed rack in the kitchen.
Speed racking it like overnight. Like I was there for like 20 hours just like making dough. And at the time I was making like tiny batches of dough. Like I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. And so she was kicked off of the duty after that. But
well, she did it though. I mean, and what were you selling the patty for?
I think I was selling them for like $4 a pop.
Okay, so you made 1,000 clean that weekend.
Yeah, 1,000 clean that weekend. And then, but the thing was that she was like, well, now you can sell 270. So then it was like, okay. Then it was like, okay, I'm selling 300 a weekend. Like then it was like that was like the new Pars, right? And then, Botanica let me use their space to prep it because they were, everyone was kind of closed down, so then, that was a cycle. Then I met Malik that summer through Zach, who runs Smorg. He had a Big Mott's mozzarella company, which was shut down because of the pandemic.
Malik was the guy I met at the event that I met you at for the first time.
Yes. He's
cool.
my business partner.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So he's Trinidadian. He's been wanting to have a Caribbean food business, right? And he's not a cook or anything. He's the marketing guy. Anything you see social media,
That's him.
That's Malik.
He does a great job.
Yeah. Any marketing you see, any branding, that is him.
Okay.
Right? So he took one look at my social media and said, ew. I will fix this. And I was like, great, because I don't know how to do any of this. I am flying off the seat of my pants. So he took it, he revamped it, he rebranded it, he, did everything to make it actually look like a business. And then I was like, hey, Mom, I think I need to form an LLC. So she was, at the time, she was like a SCORE mentor. She was like helping small businesses anyway. So she was like, cool, I got it. So we helped her form the LLC. We got it all together. She helped me, get the business accounts together. And, I just gathered all these resources together. And, my friend Janet, helps big brands she hooked us up with her friend of hers who does graphic design for branding, and she helped us just get. So I was like, cool. So I just reached around me to all these people in my network. I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to cook. I don't know how to do anything else.
No, you know how to ask for help.
I knew how to ask for help.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. People want to help too, especially when you're getting off the ground.
That's what I've told every single person. They're like, how did you do it? I was like, I didn't do it. I asked everyone else to help me do it. And they're like, oh, and I tell people all the time, that's how I did it. That's how you did it. I didn't do it. Everyone else helped me do it.
Yes and no. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah,
but you set yourself up and then you ask the community.
Yeah, I had an idea and I had the food
courage
brain,
to do it. Yeah.
And I had the experience of working in restaurants, and I had all of that. But all the other stuff, I didn't have any knowledge of.
That's epic.
So I just was like, bonk, 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 you. And that's how we've made it work. That's how we've grown the business.
I look back to my first food truck wrap, and it was literally, we took this design that we found on Google, and we just used the worst Photoshop thing and super imprinted it, and that was our first logo. And it was our logo till 5 years ago.
Exactly.
And it was my buddy did it for free. He was like, hey, just feed me twice a week for the next month. And I was like, all right, we got it, man. We'll take care of you.
I think especially being a quote unquote entrepreneur, there's this whole idea that you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But really good ones, all they do is get as many brains as they can in the room.
The good ones do.
The good ones, they get as many brains as they can in the room and be like, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me do this? I don't know how to do this. Can you help me do this? Because you don't know how to do. I don't know anything. I only know what I know, which is not very much.
So modest, this one over here.
But really, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, most people we know less than we know.
Well, and the thing that I think you'll continue to see is you've learned so much through experience, and I think this industry is that. I think we really have a tough industry because what worked 10 years ago is what worked a year ago. It doesn't work in our industry anymore. It's a really evolving quickly.
And it's volatile as hell.
It's volatile as hell.
And there's what I've learned now in this new venture, because we did the pop-up for 4 years, right? And that was every year was something different because we evolved. We started, it was a house operation. Then we moved to a commissary kitchen. Then we did Smorg for a year and a half. And, then we popped up at restaurants and festivals. We did Coachella. We did Family Fest. We did all these different types of variations of a pop-up. We did residencies and restaurants. We did all these different kind of variations. We did 3 days a week pickup service out of the commissary kitchen. Nothing was stagnant, and which made it very hard to forecast anything.
Yeah, it's so hard to operate that way.
Or as we're presenting to investors, give them any idea of what our business is going to look like. So that was difficult. But now that we're in this brick and mortar space, it's people are like, oh, congratulations, you're in a brick and mortar space. Yes, thank you. But also, I feel like I've gone up all these steps and now I'm at this platform, and then there's all these steps I still have to go up. Right?
Where you want to go after this?
I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at right
I'm like, I think this is kind of the mountaintop. It's more of these, if you know, but if you have some other ideas, I mean, I can see this doing really well. I don't know it's where you want to go, but like airports and places where you need quick things. Like, dude, if I was eating this on a plane, I'd be so much happier than whatever the I'm eating.
Airports is a thing that we're looking at. Stadiums is a thing that we're looking
they're
at.
great places
like,
for that.
Is you know, and you know, we see the patties really as a hero product for those type of platforms. But the challenges of opening, particularly this calendar year, at least for us, like July to July, really kind of a crazy year in LA to open.
The craziest year. Just to think about this year in LA, we've had a fire to start your year or mid-year off. We've had the terrible stuff that's going on with ICE.
Yep.
We've had a city that's, I think, kind of alienated its hospitality.
Yep.
So you're dealing with all of these things all at once, tariffs, world being unknown. It's you know.
Not to mention, really, like going into last summer, we were like coming off of a strike. So like,
oh man,
people forget about that part. Like the hospitality industry was already in decline last summer because of all the strikes that were coming out of. So it was kind of a crazy 12 months to open a restaurant, and then it's...
Oh, and with a newborn, let's just put that out there as well. Yeah. Theo, the most handsome little dude.
Also with a baby, so...
But you know what? This is it sounds like from your story, there is a theme of resilience, and there's a theme of not giving up on where you wanted to go. And I think that this is, you're on the journey, right?
We're all on the journey.
I'm on the journey.
We're all on the journey.
Yeah.
That's what life is, right? And like being adaptable to the things that are out of your control is how you succeed, because they're always going to happen.
I love that.
They're always going to happen. And all you can do is adapt and grow and roll with whatever comes.
Well, on that note, I think that's it. I think this podcast, we hit it. For those of you who are on your way, I mean, this is an example of what it takes. You gotta run the community. You gotta put passion. You gotta put soul into it, and you gotta love what you do. I mean, if you wrote that menu and you didn't love that food, what would be happening right now?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I still don't.
All right. Well, so we do have some quick fire questions.
Oh, let's go.
Gotta get the glasses on for these.
Oh,
they are quite fun.
Okay.
Maybe you'll think they're fun. Maybe you think they're terrible. We'll find out right now.
They're terrible.
So thanks for letting me lift that one up over here. All right. So if you were to pick your 3 ingredients for success, what are they?
Know what you don't know.
Know what you don't know.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Because you know what you know. You know what you don't know.
Okay.
Know what you don't know.
Know what you don't know.
Ask for help. Make sure you rest.
Make sure you rest. You're throwing a dream dinner. Everyone asks who you want that to be at that dinner or not.
Oh, okay.
Who do you want to be your sous?
Ooh. Who do I want to be my sous at my dream dinner? Ooh. That's a really interesting question.
Tough one.
It is a tough one because there's like some personal answers and then there's some famous-y ones. Okay, I'm going to pick 2.
Okay.
Because one's personal and one's
Urban.
A famous one. Personally, I would pick my Aunt Vi.
Okay.
Of the famous Aunt Vi's codfish cakes.
Ah, okay.
Because I've only ever had the recipe. She died when I was 3, so I never got to cook with her.
I see, okay.
But she was the famous cook in the family.
In the family, she was the one.
And I'd love to cook beside her.
Awesome.
Famously, I think it would have to be like Edna Lewis.
Edna Lewis?
Yeah.
Why?
Because her cookbook of like just like classic African-American recipes is so technical.
Okay.
It's like classic and technical at the same time. And I just love to see those 2 ladies interact. Okay. And also, I would be the sous in that situation.
Okay, good. So you'd have a lot of fun.
I just want them to boss me around.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Okay. Omakase tasting or a la carte?
Ooh, omakase tasting.
Omakase tasting. Okay. Aged wine or craft cocktail?
Aged wine.
Aged wine. Okay.
I don't really drink anymore.
No more drinking?
You heard what I said earlier.
No
about
caffeine.
What I did in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
I'm done.
That's it. So if you are going to open, it's going to be a little glass of wine.
Nice wine. I'm good.
Okay, but not too often.
Not too often.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Front of house or back of house?
Back.
Yeah, okay, good. It would be weird if you said otherwise. Dessert or an extra savory plate?
Extra savory plate.
Amen. I mean, that's all I want.
Cheese.
Yeah, anything. Full-size burger or smash patty?
Full-size burger. Smash burgers can die.
What? Dang. Oh, just end of story?
End of story.
Wow.
I want to say I want my burger mid-rare. Smash burgers can die.
Okay, there we go. You heard it here.
I want real cheese. American cheese can die. I want like I remember when like in the early 2000s when it was like craft burgers with like arugula and like caramelized onion, red onion jam. Bring those back.
There you go, Father's office.
Brioche.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You don't want the potato bun. You don't want the smash burger.
Ugh. Potato buns, you just. Ugh. God, I'm over it.
Okay, controversial. I like it. All right, Neapolitan style pizza or New York slice?
New York slice.
Of course, right? How can we not? And then bagel and lox and schmear or bacon, egg, and cheese?
Lox and schmear.
Lox and schmear. Okay. All right. Epic. Well, Chef Rashida Holmes, this has been epic.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed my time with you thoroughly.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me some delicious eats.
Yeah, of course.
Your story resonated with me. It was beautiful to hear that you took something that might have been a tough start and you almost stepped out of the industry again when you went back to school, but you stayed true to it. And I think through all of this, that tenacity, that power, I mean, I just can't wait to see what the next 20 years unfolds. You have it all, and I'm just grateful that you got to spend some time on our show.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you, Snibs, for sponsoring the podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, Nibs.
All right.
Thanks for the shoes.
Thank you.